do you actually need for vlogging? Do you need all the singing, all dancing DSLRs and all that big gear, or can you just do it with the basics? Let's find out, shall we? So what do you actually need to start vlogging? You see all these the professionals, I say professionals, people who make a living out of it, like sort of Casey Neistat, Peter McKinnon and the likes, and then a lot of the photographers that are putting YouTube vlogs up every single week, week after week, and you see the gear they're using. They're all using sort of quite big DSLRs, bigger than my Fuji X-T3 or 2, and to be honest, do you actually need that just for YouTube? You know, if you're making films, I could understand it, but if you're not making films, what's the point? You know, most people are just going to watch YouTube on an iPad or an iPhone. So, do you really need 4K, or will 1080p do? So, and maybe this puts a lot of people off of getting into a YouTube channel and starting vlogging, you know, or not necessarily a YouTube channel, just starting vlogging. You can stick it through your Facebook for that matter. So I thought I'd touch on is the gear that I use for vlogging, which is nowhere near the professional DSLR type standard, nowhere at all. Okay, now this is it. This is my vlogging gear, totally. There's the X-T2 on the tripod, admittedly, with a Rode Video Micro, but that's it. Apart from that, this is my vlogging gear. And I'll say now that the X-T2 I use pretty much like in this sort of situation around the house. And the reason I use it only this sort of situation is what I've found is that it does not like the heat of the Middle East. So if you stick it on a tripod out there in the sun and you start filming stuff, that camera overheats. Not a good place to be, obviously. So, basics. If you wanted to start vlogging right here and now today, I bet you've got one of these in your pocket. I bet you've got a mobile phone in your pocket with a front and a back camera on it. The advantage of that is you've also got a screen. So, you can see yourself on video if you're using the front side camera. Okay? They've got a built-in mic, so you can actually start vlogging right here and now with one of those. Processing after is a different story, but maybe we'll go into that another day. As far as recording the videos are concerned, right here, right now, on your mobile phone, be it an iPhone or a Samsung, whatever, Android of any shape or form, that is going to be the most basic type of vlogging setup ever. Get yourself a selfie stick, you can hold it further away, you know, stand it on a tripod, whatever. That's got to be your most basic setup. And I've used it. I tend not to use it anymore, but I have used this for vlogging on more than one occasion. Okay? Now, my vlogging has moved on slightly from that, but only slightly. I don't see the need for it to go massively overboard. Okay? So let's talk about cameras. This is my Nikon A900, it's my surveying camera, but it's also a great vlogging camera. The advantage of this, of course, is it's got a flippy out screen, so you can see yourself. Now, I'm not a big fan of flippy out screens, because I tend to then look at the screen rather than the lens, which means I'm talking to myself on a screen, and not the person watching you chaps, the person watching the video. I think you should be looking down the lens, but I naturally can't help but look at the screen. So this is a great vlogging camera. Some people like these flippy out screens, you know. I think it's a great camera. But there is a downside to this one. When you start to get into sound, you can't put an external microphone on this. So you have to rely on the built-in microphones, which, to be honest, are okay. In an environment like this, they're fine. But as soon as you get outside, you got a little bit of wind or background noise, they're a pain in the ass. So this is very limited. I tend to use it with an external microphone source, which I'm not a big fan of either, because then I've got to match them all up when I'm editing. It's great for B-roll, and I carry it all the time, so that's the advantage of that one. It's good quality and I catch it all the time. It may suit people's needs. It's basically a point and press at the end of the day. Another good way to get into vlogging. Okay. My main camera for vlogging these days is this one. This is my, let me take this apart a minute. This is a GoPro Hero 5 Black. And I used this initially when I started vlogging, and then I went away from it in favor of other cameras, and I've recently come back to it because it does what it says on the tin. It's a brilliant bit of kit. It's rock solid. I wouldn't say they're indestructible, but I can stick it on the outside of my truck. I can leave it out in the weather. I can, use it indoors. The downside of them again, though, is sound. The sound quality is not very good at all on them. I don't think it is. So I use an external mic with it. But if you were going to buy anything other than a phone, I would recommend to get a GoPro. You can't go wrong with a GoPro, I don't think. I know there's other action cams on the market these days, and then there's all sorts of add-ons you can get. See, I've got an aluminium housing on this one, and I've got an ND filter on it, I've got an Arca Swiss mount on it, but we'll get into that shortly. And then finally, the final camera I use for vlogging, I've got a DJI Pocket. This is an image stabilized one. It's got a built-in gimbal, a bit like the drones. This is ideal for when you're running, you're walking and things, because it'll stay stable. I've got a stick to go with that, but again, we'll get into that shortly. I did try to use this as my main vlogging camera, but I don't think it's wide angle enough. Even at arm's length like that, it's a bit questionable as to whether it's wide enough angle for what you want to do. So that's the basic setups for the cameras. That's my camera setup. So what do I use each one for? So as I said, my iPhone I don't use a great deal anymore for vlogging. The A900, more for B-roll than anything else. The Pocket, usually when I'm walking and talking. And my main camera is definitely the GoPro. So let's talk about mounts. And what I use to mount on various aspects for vlogging. Let's start with this one. This is a sucker one that goes on the outside of the truck. Obviously with a GoPro, I don't think I'd want to try putting anything else on the outside of my truck. Pretty impressive. Off-road, on-road at speed, it stays on. It's a simple device. Don't buy cheap. If you're going to get one of these, I wouldn't go for a cheap one. Get a decent quality one, or you will end up with your camera on the side of the road. It's worth investing in a decent quality one of these. So that's for sort of B-roll that you see stuck on the side of my truck or whatever. The DJI Pocket, I bought this stick which is also DJI. Yeah, gives you a little bit more arm's length. Like I said, the lens on this camera is quite narrow field, so I felt that you needed further away. The trouble is, I found with this, it's then, that you can't really, that's the closest you can get to storing it with the camera on it. It's not the end of the world, it does work. I find I don't use it as much as I thought I would, though, is the issue. And if you fold it completely as it's stored, then the camera's at right angle, which is sort of defeats the object. That's not too bad, I suppose. I don't use this as much as I would, or as I thought I would. You can put it on a tripod as well, which I have been known to. So that's okay, though. It's not too bad. B-roll, like I said, I use the Nikon for my B-roll quite a lot. This is mounted on the BRoll travel tripod I have, which is a carbon fiber. It's nice and lightweight. I've only recently started doing sort of second angle shots, so using two cameras. In fact, I've got one video with it so far. I've messed around with it, but never really done a great deal with it. So I've done one video where I've used two cameras for different angle shots. Get a bit technical there, let's see. And then that's where this camera comes in, and the tripod, obviously. Then my main vlogging setup, as I said, is my GoPro. I've got an LED light and a video micro. This is on a heavy duty Joby. This is the 5K, I think. I used to use this when I did use big cameras for vlogging. It was a brief, funny 5 minutes. You can hold this out, to vlog like that. You can stand it down wherever, a truck bed, on a rock or whatever. You know, it's a pretty heavy duty sort of setup. Wrap it around things. It's ideal for the Joby, you know. Right, sometimes with some of these cameras, like I said, the sound is not brilliant unless you've got an external microphone on them, like this one, and like that one. The sound is far from good. So I use an external audio recorder, and this is a basic lavalier mic. This is a Boya, okay. There are a couple of batteries inside there, and then this is the Zoom H1N video recorder. It's a stereo recorder. It's got built-in mics, but I tend to use this mic with it. The joys of having a daughter, a couple of hairbands, all secures it all together. That just drops in your pocket, that clips on your t-shirt, and away you go. The only downside, of course, is you have to then match up the sound to the video. If you're facing the camera like this, you've really got to match it up properly or it looks really, really bad. What I found is, and I know from watching other people's videos as well, I'll sit and watch a video with poor video quality, you know, overexposed, slightly out of focus, as long as the sound is good. If the sound is terrible or not good, then I'm sorry, I just click off it straight away. So I know from my own sort of experience that you have to have good quality sound. I think my last video I did of the sunrise, I didn't actually use this, and there was a lot of wind noise, and I'll be first to admit the sound quality was rubbish. So yeah, sound quality to me is essential. It really is. And that's something else that really bugs me as well, which is what I'm always careful of with this, is when the lips are out of sync with the actual sound itself. This is why I'm not a big fan of these, although I do use them. I would prefer a built-in microphone that's going straight to the cameras. Maybe one day I'll invest in the wireless type so that I can use this with the camera itself. But there you go. Anyway, that's pretty much it. That was just a sort of a quick rundown on vlogging for the enthusiastic amateur as opposed to the pro. So you don't have to have all the gear and all the singing and dancing expensive stuff to get into this vlogging laugh. Like I said, you can do it with your phone. Use your phone, maybe an external mic, maybe not. Depends what you want to film and what you want to vlog, you know. But that's exactly how I started. It was with the phone. So there you go. Anyway, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and the little bell icon so you know when I'm doing the next one of these. Catch you all soon.